Hey, Apex Reg here. Last time we spoke about this idea about God being our safe place and how we can create a safe place within Apex. And if you remember, we looked at Psalm 46, verse 1 to 3, which says, God is our safe place and our strength. He is always our help when we are in trouble. So we will not be afraid, even if the earth is shaking and the mountains fall into the center of the sea. And even if the waters go wild with storm and the mountains shake with its actions. And we looked at how God is presently right here, right now. He is our safe place, and He's always there when there is trouble. My question for you is, what is your favorite type of fireworks? My one is the one that goes up, and it goes up slowly. There's a pause, and all of a sudden, like there's that massive explosion and a circle, and it sprinkles out. That's my favorite one. And I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of getting sick and tired of fireworks nights simply because my daughter Eliza, who loves it, and CJ, who loves it, but Eliza particularly would love it during while she's awake, but when she's going to sleep, she is petrified. She starts screaming and bawling, and then what will happen is that she'll then climb into our bed, she'll looking for me, and I'll say to her, okay, honey, are you okay? She goes, no, the fireworks, the fireworks. I say, okay, come, you want to sleep with me for a little bit? And she goes, yeah. And then what she'll do is we'll go under the covers, and then she'll snuggle real tight and close to me. And one thing I want to be clear is about this is that she understands that her safe place is her dad. Her safe place is her dad. Now, here's a truth in all of this, that being safe is not the absence of trouble or issues coming your way, but rather that God is there with you and is in control. That being safe is not the absence of trouble or issues coming your way, but rather that God is there with you and is in control. Here's the thing. The trouble can be anything in question. It could be mental trouble or physical one or even a spiritual one. But God is there with us. You asked me, Red, well, how do you know this? Look at Daniel and the lions then in Daniel chapter 6, verse 1 to 28. And just to put this into context for you, what's happened so far is that Daniel and his people have been captured, and Daniel and his friends are now working for the king of Babylon, King Nebuchadnezzar. Brilliant name, by the way. He's got two Z's there. And people are jealous of Daniel, and they convince the king to put him in a fiery furnace. But what happens? Daniel is saved because he's in a situation, because God is there in the situation with him. See, later these people plot against him because he was successful in the position the king had placed him in, and their plan worked. Daniel's thrown into the den with the lions. Verse 18 to 23 tells us how Daniel was saved by God. Why? Because God was in charge and looked after him. Daniel's life wasn't free from trouble. Far from it. See, people literally put his life in danger. But the comforting thing for us is that God was there to help him. And I think for some of us, we need to realize, and this is probably credit to Casey here, that the lions can be anything in our lives. You know, that it could be social media. It could be it could be the way we think about things. It could be all these sort of things. The lions can represent different things in our lives that are there to cause trouble for us. But God being in the situation helps immensely. You look at Elijah running away. 1 Kings chapter 19. And what happened is that Elijah has run away for his life. And it seems to us as you read the passages here that he has this nervous breakdown. He's lost all confidence in himself. He's lost all confidence in what he should be doing, lost all confidence in how he should be behaving. And what happens? Simply, God restores him. God gives him rest. God gives him food and takes care of him. And I love this thought that God takes care of us even when we are down. Even when we are down, God takes care of us. Young people, you have to realize that in the moment, in the situation that you're in, God takes care of you. Then you look at Mark chapter 4, verse 35 to 41, where Jesus calms the storm. Jesus calms the storm. And so what's happened is that Jesus and his disciples were on the water in the boat, and a storm arose. And the Bible tells us that whilst all this was going on, Jesus was actually asleep. So while the storm was raging, while they'll toss left and right and to and fro, Jesus was sleeping in the boat. I love this. I love this. I love this. I love this. Because it indicates to us that whilst we may be panicking, whilst we may be scared, while we may be anxious, while we may not know what's going on, Jesus is completely the opposite. He's calm in the situation. If the God that we serve is calm in the situations that are worrying to us, what does that do for us? It gives us a confidence. And I love this because Jesus eventually speaks to the wind, he speaks to the sea, and he tells those things to be quiet. The very thing that was causing imbalance and turmoil, Jesus told those things to hush and be quiet and be still. The things that are causing imbalance and turmoil in your life, Jesus can tell it to hush, be still, be quiet. See, I understand that that's the God of the universe. That's the God who cares about you and cares about myself and cares about you and I. You know, that's the God who says he is our safe place. Why do I tell these stories? I tell you these stories because being safe is not the absence of trouble or issues coming your way, but rather that God is there with you and is in control. When my brother and I were in secondary school, I'm older than my brother by a couple of years. And he would always love being around me because, you know, big brother looks after you, gets you into certain places, you look cool, whatnot. And I remember my brother came running to me one time and said, Reg, look at me. And I looked him up and down and realised that someone had poured drink over him. I said, what happened? He goes, well, I was walking, one of the guys who's older than me was being rude and said that I should move out his way for no reason. So I said, well, no, there's plenty of space. Why don't you go around? And so he got angry because it was in front of his friend, so he poured drink over me. I said, right, cool, let's find the guy. And so I remember we went to the mass block and the kid was with his friends at the top of the stairs. And so I walked up with my brother and I realised, oh, okay, if something breaks out now, war tells me, or war strategy books tell me that he's got the higher ground, he's in an advantageous position, I need to be careful right now. So I figure I need to walk up to him so we're equal footing, you feel me? And so I said to him simply, hey, listen, that's my younger brother. I'm not sure what happened. I'm not really care what happened, but you never disrespect him ever again like that. See, my brother came to me. Why? Because he knew that from a couple of words from his big brother will sort things out. And believe me, his big brother sorted things out with just his words. And the same thing happens with God. He is there and he's willing to be our safe place. The question remains for you, will you let him in? Remember this, Psalm 46 verse 1 to 3. God is our safe place and our strength. He's always our help when we are in trouble, so we will not be afraid. Even if the earth is shaken and the mountains fall in the center of the sea, and even if the waters go wild with storm and the mountains shake with its actions. Guys, understand that God is our safe place. He is our safe place. I want to pray for you in this particular moment. God, I thank you that in the Bible you show us examples of where you've been a safe place for people, where you've been there for people. God, that despite the troubles and the turmoils and the imbalances that came their way, that God, you were still there with people, which means that you are there with us as well. God, I pray that that gives us confidence, that it gives us an assurity to who you say you are. God, I pray you bless every single one of us. In just my pray. Amen. Apex, we'll definitely see each other soon.